Welcome to the Odd Combo Show, where we hold few beliefs, yet many unwavering and growing suspicions. Thank you, Robert Anton Wilson, for those curious words of wisdom, for those psychonautical seekers, seeking truth for the sake of truth and knowledge for the sake of knowledge, despite how it may disrupt your worldview. The shattering of worlds can be a blessing in disguise, for you can build anew if you're open to it. And I hope everyone's doing well. Just want to pop in and say a few things because things have been especially heavy lately, but I feel like that is, amongst other things, a sign that things are going well. Like, how do you figure that? Pushing the right and the wrong buttons, and in turn, temptation is being bombarded with temptation. And that's okay. That's okay, because that gives us a chance to put into practice all the things we have learned, hopefully, or are aspiring towards. Refinement through repetition, I think is going to be a theme of this one. Refinement through repetition. And also, you never know how your words are going to affect another, for better or worse. Let's aim for better. And I say that because yesterday, on top of some of the amazing comments and interactions I've had with some of the recent videos I've posted, it's been some really thoughtful comments that I'm beyond grateful to know that anyone is able to connect to anything I'm saying, and yeah, it's beautiful. You know, many take it for granted, I think, like just, having subscribers, viewers, and whatnot. But, with the things I'm aiming to do with this, talking addiction and trauma and healing and how we can take the power of our own minds and self-sovereignty back into our own hands. Spreading a message of hope from someone who's experienced a lot of their life in states of hopelessness and fear and failure and fight and flight. Like there is a better way, and there is hope. Refinement through repetition. But so words affecting others. It could just be a simple message, and you never know what that person's going through at that time, when maybe you just say some simple words of kindness to let them know you were thinking about them. And a huge shout out to my buddy Adam Butler. He's an author. He's a psychonaut researcher, among other things. Adam Butler's DMT Field Guide. Check it out. But he has been making a lot of rounds on podcasts more and more lately, and I'm super proud to see him doing that. But he sent me a message yesterday that happened to stumble into my reality at a very dire time. Little did he know. And all the message really said was, "Hey, I recorded a conversation with Danny Goler last night, and I gave you a name drop. Like, who knows? Maybe it'll go viral." And it, regardless of what happens with that name drop, one, I'm hugely appreciative of that. That really means a lot. But at the time that I saw that message, I was battling my demons. So yesterday I was downtown. They had the Holyoke St. Patrick's Day parade. It's a pretty big deal around here. And I was downtown, and I've been having a lot of uh, temptation uh, beating me up lately and really like suffocating me lately. And I'm going to get to some of the reasons as to why I believe this is popping up more and more lately, because I wasn't having a lot of like impulsive thoughts to go pick up dope. Um, but I was on a mission to go get some dope yesterday, and there's tons of cops around too. Everyone's there for the parade, like it's a huge deal. And um, so I'm looking for a dude to score from, and I see this dude. He's holding a cardboard sign, like looked like he was had his own makeshift sign of like trying to get people to pay for parking in his own ghetto lot. Um, but he's doing his dance moves in the street and everything. And so I walk over to that guy, and he's like, "Yo, you good?" I walk over to him, like, "Yo, you got a couple bundles?" I'm like do seven, a couple B's for 70. He's like, "Oh, hang on," and he like pulls out his flip phone, and he's like still holding his sign, and I'm standing there all awkward, like white dude in a part of the city where like it's obvious what I'm doing. And I look up the road, and there was a cop sitting at one of the stoplights, right, I don't know, 100, 200 feet up the street. And dude saying, speaking Spanish on the phone, like, asking if they can do whatever the hell he was saying. It didn't matter. It was like, "Yo, dude, the boys right there." And he's like, "Yo, I don't give a smack." Sorry, I would swear, but I'm really trying to get this out there, and so I'm trying to limit my vulgarities. But like, I don't give a smack. And I'm like, well, I do not. So at the same time, I have all this stuff going through my brain, like how I had just the day before read an article that there was a task force out in that area doing busts just days prior in that same vicinity I was in. And, seeing the cop, light turns green, starts driving towards us. And I'm like, inside, I'm like, stay, go, stay, go, stay, go. And I'm like, my inner voice is screaming, like, walk away, dude. Could the sign be any more clear? Walk away. But that's how powerful it can be in the moment. It's just like, it's that proverbial angel and devil on your shoulder, like in real time. And depending on how deep of a relationship you have with yourself and willingness to talk to yourself, those dialogues and interactions can get pretty funny, and complex and intense. And you are the creator of it, but you feel like you're caught in the middle of it too, simultaneously. It's trippy. But so I start walking away as the cops like drive by, and he's like, yo, come back. I'm like, I'm good, dude. And still, I'm like 50 feet, still screaming at me. He's like, yo, I'm like, no. I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, dude, turn around. He's right. Like, the cop drove by. Like, it's madness, absolute madness. But to be at a point in my journey of recovery where I'm self-aware enough, even in those moments, to like be thinking about these things and thinking about like, what do I really feel like getting arrested today? Like, doesn't sound like a great way to spend my one day off a week. Especially there's this awesome parade going on, which I watched a little bit of, but big crowds are not really my scene. So I walk away, and in my head I'm like anxious as hell. I'm like, oh my god, I just escaped a close call. Yet for still probably the next 10, 20 minutes, as I'm trying to walk back uptown towards where I live, like there was moments I was stopping, and like I would stop, take a side street back in the direction of going back to see the dude, and then I would turn myself back around. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I actually have to like say it out loud to myself sometimes, like, to hear it. It really, like, externalizes the internal, and to hear yourself like express the insanity, the absurdity of such insanity, like helps clarify it a little bit. Um, and it just reminded me what someone made a comment the other day on one video. Said thanks for trying to explain the ineffable, and I really appreciated that comment. And I almost feel like that's kind of what's happening now, because expressing these emotional states and how chaotic they can be and how fast it all happens, especially for someone who has such a high sensory overload input. Um, it is a lot to explain them, and I can only imagine how it sounds to the average ear. But so back to the reason I brought up my friend Adam Butler in the comment. As I walked away in the meantime, and I'm still contemplating going back to this dude, I look down and I see that text that said, hey man, hope you're doing well. Was on recorded with Danny Golder last night and name dropped you. And, you can call that a coincidence. You and just say, oh, what was very coincidental timing. But at this point in my life, and for a while now, long coincidence has gone out the window. And also, I always wonder about it. Like when people say coincidences, is that proper English, or is it? Would you pluralize it as by saying a series of coincidence? Because coincidences just sound so odd to me. Anyways, odd combo show. Um, so I saw that text at such a dire time, and to him, it probably seemed like nothing, but to see that, and to see that not only was somebody thinking about me, but it got my mind back on the right track, and thinking about how much I've been sharing lately and doing these talks. And like, had I slipped up, I would still come on here. I absolutely would still come on here and talk about it. Like, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Um, the coincidence. You can look at the timing of that as coincidence and just say it's, just not use that to your benefit. But this falls in line with the idea of like synchronicity, which is one thing. I kind of refer to it as the cosmic conversation. Um, in that moment, I'm having such a spiritual warfare being engaged on the battlefield of my, which is my body, this temple, you could say. Um, I like to speak poetically. Okay, it's just my natural way, a very abstract, like, um, just speak from the heart. That's all. Um, so as there's spiritual warfare being waged with in terms of my addiction demons, and to see a message like that, and to know that I've been like pushing lately, and really like pushing myself to speak and share more and be vulnerable and open, because despite how it may seem, like this has not always been easy for me, and still isn't the most comfortable thing for me. um I don't like being the center of attention, so this is a weird thing for me always, especially with the music. Like, going out and playing music, I love to do it, and I feel I need to do that to nourish a part of my soul sometimes. But it's one of the most awkward things for me. And afterwards, like, if people ever try and come up and talk to me, like, I feel just very uncomfortable. Um, I'm just an awkward person. Um, it's okay. Um, I'm just trying to find a little more comfort in my awkwardness, and just overall confidence. And that's what this is all building to. Hopefully. Um, I mean, hopefully it already has. I've put in a lot of work over the last couple of years posting videos here on YouTube. And I really do feel like I'm going to be starting a new channel that is solely for videos like this, because this channel that you'll be seeing this on is essentially been an experiment. Like I've talked about it a lot. See if I could. It was like a last ditch attempt to try and save my own life, and it is turned into so many other things. Um, you could say cock shadow work in real time, chronological alchemy. You could call it a lot of things. I don't like to use labels. It's another thing that makes me very uncomfortable. Um, but I just simply refer to it as yeah, my journey trying to save my own life and um, find myself, find some meaning in the world, and maybe be able to spread that to others. Um, so thank you, Adam. Really, like I said, on your end, maybe that seemed like a very simple, small thing, but that's some divine timing if you want to choose to use a moment like that and use it for deeper symbolic interpretation. Like, you can use synchronicity. So many people get caught up in seeing numbers all the time, and it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool, but to what end? Like, is it benefiting you? Are you able to like uh, do something productive, beneficial, better yourself in any way with these, synchronicities? Or are you just like seeing angel numbers all day and oh my god, my spirit guides are all around me all the time, la 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 la. Oh man, I love this spiritual stuff, but man, some people put a really ugly face on it, and um, I think one of the things that I'm trying to do with all this too is to make it not so poppy and ugly, and make it a little more palpable, because especially in terms of an addiction recovery journey, hate to break it to everyone, but because I didn't want to hear this when I was younger, going to meetings and stuff, but uh, developing a relationship with a higher power of your understanding is of the utmost crucial, my dudes. um it truly is. But you can be told that, and that's something that really needs to unfold if and when the individual is ready and in their own way. You're never going to find God through another person's lips. You may think you do. You may think you'll like. You may develop some form of spiritual bond through, reading spiritual texts, but you need to you can only truly come to your individual intimate relationship with God through your own journey and your own trials and tribulations and your own choice and decision to surrender and be open to that. um and there are layers. Like it expands. Can become Everything can be delved into and investigated and understood on uh, deeper layers you want to go, essentially. Um, and man, I got so far off track. Maybe I didn't get off track. I don't know. I never know. I get so speaking like this. It sometimes never know where you're gonna end up. But one of the things I wanted to say, I'm almost reaching 20 minutes here, and I don't want to go too long because it takes a long time to upload and attention spans and blah 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 blah. But one of the reasons that I've been having an uptick of cravings and intrusive thoughts of temptations is because I've been allowing myself to revisit certain things that still seem to need some healing, with specific person. Um, Sometimes you're so deeply emotionally intertwined with somebody. Like this was my ex fiance. I'm not talking about this to call her out, but it's more the idea that sometimes there are people in our we have relationships in our experience here that are karmic relationships that, like, how things ended with her and I was very difficult in a lot of ways. Um, takes two to tango. I'm not an easy person to be with, but things ended in a very harsh way. Um, and like where I live now by myself, like we moved into this place together 5.5 years ago. Um, had cats too. The reason I'm saying all of this is because of how things ended when she moved out, led me like I've only been able to become this version of myself because of everything that happened in the end with that, and how that ended, and how world shattering it was in so many ways, and how completely it broke me. But it broke me. It set me ablaze to the point. There's the proverbial phoenix rising from the ashes, a chance to really look inside myself and figure out who I was. But it sent me into an isolation period, which I'm still mostly in. I spend most of my time alone outside of work. Um, but um, we've been hanging out a little bit lately, and I've noticed a pattern over the years of, like, we'll go a while without talking. Um, and then let her back in after going through the process in my head, like, oh, I can never talk to her again. I have to, it has to be over. um and then every time I allow her back in my energy, my life, this is not putting blame of, like, my using on anybody. It's like we are always responsible for our decisions, but because of the things we went through together, when I allow her back in my space, it's almost like there's, even though I've forgiven her, some things you can never forget, and some things you go through with people that, like, change you so immensely at your foundation, that when I am around her, it's almost like it lights up certain things in my nervous system, and triggers old feelings and emotions that are not pleasant, and lead me in these they're like circuits in your nervous system, and it sets them back on. And because of, like, having her over here for a little bit, and then she leaves, and then I'm sitting in that place of emptiness and loneliness. Like, I don't feel the same as when she originally left, but it's almost like it brings me back emotionally to that time in some ways. And each time I've done it, that's what I mean by refinement through repetition. It's allowed me to heal a little deeper, but it still returns. It makes me feel like I'm in deja vu with a lot of things. I've been feeling deja vu, same discontent with work, just like feeling these old versions of me, of uh, a time before I've put all this work in to, again, become who I am. Which, again, I could not be who I am now if it were not for this person. So, in a weird, twisted way, thank you for everything, all good and bad. Like, these karmic relationships we have with people, like, maybe we wish that person could have been with us for our whole life, but that's not the way it was. But are you going to allow what happened to destroy you, or build you anew? And at first, for a while, I was uh, allowing myself to do the former, and I just felt completely, utterly shattered, and felt like I lost my family all over again. Like, because I was really close with her family too. It's whatever. It's not about that. It's again about the recognizing that certain things and certain people are in interconnected to our addictions and our problems. And yeah, every time I've had her come back in my life to any extent, I find myself going through, like, having very spontaneous and more regular thoughts of wanting to pick up. And again, that's not her fault. It's just me acknowledging that so much happened in that it's maybe not it's obviously not a healthy thing for me to put myself around. But it's like, I don't know, it sucks. It kills me, because it's like, does it have to be a complete cutoff? Like, is that like part of, like, is the lesson not like, something needs to be learned here on my end? But like, part of me, as and the voice inside me has long said, every time I reconnect with her, it's like, this can only end one way. And it's almost like I feel like, by allowing her access to my energy in my life, is even is yes, you are forgiven, but so much, unfortunately, cannot be forgotten, no matter how hard I try. And that's, you shouldn't have to want to try to forget things when you're with people. And if you're doing that, you're not being authentic. You're not being authentic to yourself. And it's not how we do these days. So, wow, that was all a lot. Um, Here, I just want. Okay, I guess I'm going to read a couple things to close it out. I wrote these the other day. Humble yourself and ask for help, which I'm finally learning to do. I've never been very good at asking for help. Feel you don't belong? Please know that you do. God can be experienced by all, but we must become open to knowing that we know nothing. Everything happens for us, never to us. You got to switch our mindset. Another thing too, when it comes to the thoughts that come into our mind and how often we're on autopilot. Whenever you get a thought, especially with those temptation thoughts that you're trying to steer away from, when you try to catch yourself, stop yourself and be like, analyze the thought and say to yourself, whether out loud or inside, say, I accept that thought, or I reject that thought. Do that. I know it sounds like nothing, but it's a deceptively simple yet profoundly effective tool I picked up from Mind and Magic. Frater X, dude. Go check his channel out. We have all fallen. Use your free will to ascend or further descend. It is your choice. The material versus the spirit. Satan is adversary. What is adversarial to God, which is spirit? The material. Neither. Both can be used for good and bad. But we allowed ourselves to fall into the material realm. And I think a lot of this experience is about allowing ourselves to further descend and become enmeshed into the material world and forget about spirit completely, or remember our spiritual essence in return. That's what this is about. Unity consciousness, harmonizing the hemispheres of our brain hemispheric synchronization, harmonizing the masculine and the feminine, understanding the nature of polarity and learning to balance is key, is crucial. Here, read one more. Understand hate. Know how and when to utilize the darkness, for it is a part of us. But try your best to eliminate hate from your heart. You know how many times in a day I'm at work and I'll be on the line, I'm a line cook. And for anyone who's a line cook, and the sound of that ticket printer, oh my God, it is, I hate it. But then do I really? Because hate is such a strong word. Well, I strongly dislike that sound. Like it's like nails on a chalkboard to me. It also has a lot of just negative attachments to it from years of being a line cook, and having destructive ways of coping with those annoyances. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up because we've been rolling for over a half hour now. And hey, much love, peace, love, and light. Stay strong.